I can see Oluokun. I can see Walk, who introduced themselves as James David. Good evening, everybody. So let's get right to it. You're welcome once again to this bootcamp, which is a 3 day tech bootcamp actually, and the goal is to discover, to grow, and to expand. And today we'll be talking about creation. We'll be talking about product creation, how to create digital products. Please, if you can hear me, let me know you can hear me in the comment section. Yeah, probably a thumbs up would be fine. Are you guys with me? Hello.
Yeah, I've sent the thumbs up to the group, sir.
Okay. That's good. So I'm going to be projecting my slides, and I'd like for us to follow me. Give me a second, please. Okay. All right. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay. Good. So when I introduced today myself and I talked about what we're talking about today, I mentioned that we're talking about creation. And when I say creation, talking about creation in the tech industry, how to create products in tech. And there are a lot of things that creating something involves, such as I would say thinking about what you want to create, identifying a specific problem to create something for, and a whole lot of other things to consider. But let's dive into creation. So please, we are getting started now, and I'd like us to take a pen and jotters, take notes, ask questions, and learn a lot. So on my slide, you can see that I said the world around you was built by someone, and you can see some specific companies here: Spotify, Uber, Google, Instagram. Now let's talk about creation itself. What's the meaning of create? I you search your dictionary. To create something means to bring something into existence. And similar examples or similar words that can be used to replace the word creates are generate, produce, design, make, fabricate, fashion, and a whole lot of different words. Now, the definition of create is bringing something into existence. Now, when I said in this first slide, the world around you was built by someone. Obviously, Christians, Muslims alike, we all have our beliefs. But a common belief that all of us have is that God created the heavens and the earth. God thought about something and he created it. So, to create something, the first step is to think about it. And then the next thing is to plan and take action. So it's a 3 step process. Creating is you thinking about it, you planning about what you want to create, and then you take action. That's the only way you can create something. Now, Spotify, what does Spotify do? Spotify is a music streaming platform that gives you access to any music anywhere. Uber, what does Uber do? Uber is a platform that helps you. Uber is a platform that helps you to order rides, that help you to gain access to easy transportation. Google gives you the platform whereby you can search for anything. You can know about anything by just opening your Google Chrome and typing in anything. Instagram, you can see pictures, you can connect with your friends, you can watch reels. All these platforms are solving specific problems. In the tech industry, there are lots of problems that can be solved. There are a lot of problems that can be solved. And for you to excel in the tech industry, you have to be able to solve a problem. So Give me a second, please. Are we there? Please, you can unmute your mic and let me know you're following me.
Yes, yes, I'm following.
Good, good. So before we continue, most people in life, I want you to know that most people go through life, they just use things. People don't actually think about how things came to exist. In Nigeria, that's a common, how would I use the word now? It's, it's common to see that a lot of people just use things without actually questioning its existence. And we have phones. Everyone literally has a phone. And we have a lot of applications of our phone. We open our phone, we open WhatsApp, we send a message. We can order for biscuit, for anything. You can order for food. Item 7 now, you can order for food from item 7, which is something that is very nice. But we never ask ourselves, how did these things come into play? You know, you can order food from item 7. Item 7 is a very nice restaurant. But we never think about child death. How many of us knows child death here? Most of us should be familiar. We should be familiar with child death. You know
Yeah,
child death? Yeah. We do you know go global?
yes, sir.
You know global. Good. So you know that these platforms, what they do is connect you with people that can provide you with what you need. And then they give you the option of you ordering from them or buying it directly on their own platform. Now, what are they doing? They are creating a solution for a problem. Everything I've been saying so far, when I talked about Spotify, when I talked about Uber, I'm talking about problems. All these are problems that solutions are created for. Now, as a founder, or as a tech enthusiast, or as someone who loves tech, as someone who wants to go into tech, even if you're just a beginner, something you should know, something you should take very importantly, is the fact that you have to learn how to think, how to think about solutions to problems. So let's continue. Talked about Uber, talked about Instagram, talked about Facebook, Airbnb, all these are solutions to problems. Now, all these solutions, they didn't exist years ago. I mean, 20 years ago, I don't think there was Instagram. I don't know. But I know there wasn't Uber 20 years ago. You know, there wasn't Airbnb 20 years ago. There wasn't Facebook 20 years ago. But someone thought about, how can I create a solution to a problem that I have identified? So if you notice everything I've been doing since, I've been hammering, revolving around the word problem. Because as a tech enthusiast, as someone who is into tech, anything you want to do, especially if you want to create a product, you have to fall in love with the problem. You shouldn't think about creating a product that is just sitting there. There are a lot of apps on our phones. How many already? On my phone, I think I just use WhatsApp, probably my bank applications, Google Chrome and ChatGPT and my Gmail apps. So those are mostly the apps I use. But I have a lot of other apps that I don't open. Why? Because sometimes I just need them for certain things, or some at all, I just end up deleting them because they're not serving me any purpose. So, creating a solution to a problem involves 3 steps, like I mentioned earlier. First one is thinking about it, second one is planning, and the third one is taking action. Please, as we are doing this, if you have questions for me, you can let me know. Right, please. Sorry for the interruption. So when you talk about who is building a digital product, there are 4 steps that you can see here. You can see the idea, design, code, and products. Like I mentioned earlier, everything that is created comes from an idea. So you have to conceptualize it in your head. So you think about, why do people trek? Why do people have to start looking for cars that can take them somewhere? And then that's where the idea of Uber came in. Why can't we just create a platform where on your phone you can order for a ride and the ride knows exactly where to come and pick you. So that is the first step. So you thought about it. Then The second step here is design, and then the next one is code. Design and code, basically, I'll categorize them as you planning. So the design aspect is what you are already thought about the solution you want to provide to this problem. Now, how would your solution look like? What would your solution look like? How would your solution function? After you have thought about the design, then you think about coding. And then coding is just, how would I say coding now? Because a lot of people would think about coding like coding, coding, coding. When you say tech, first thing that comes to mind is code, programming. And hello,
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
you are hearing me? Okay, great.
Mm.
So when you say tech, first thing that comes to your mind is code. Or that was me years ago. When I hear anything tech, I hear anything computer, and I'm like, okay, programming, code. And coding was so abstract to me then. But now I can code, but I'm not really programming. I'm not really doing coding. What I'm focused around is creating products. How do I create products? I have to be able to think about it. I have to be able to plan, and I have to be able to take action. So the coding aspect is just a piece of the whole puzzle. Because to create something, when I defined creating something earlier, I said to create something means to bring something into existence. Now, so we have design, we have code, and then we have the products. Now, design and code falls under the, how would I say it again? You planning. Now, products is the result of everything you have done so far. So you talked about something, you took, you planned it, you took action, and then you have the results. So we can even say that to create something, it involves a first step. So the first one is you thinking about it. The second one is you planning. The third one is you are actually taking action. That action could be speaking to somebody about it. The action could be writing a program on the computer or just anything to produce the solution that you have thought about. And after that, you get a result. So the result is the fourth step. So yeah, it says technology is a team sport. I talked about design. When I say design, can someone tell me something about design? What tool do we use to design? Anyone? Mr. James David. I think you're very active here.
All right. So you were saying what to what can we can use to design, right?
Yes.
Um, though I'm not really into design though, but though I have
Okay.
one app I used to use to design some little
Uh,
picture, not
uh,
not like, but I guess it's Adobe, like Adobe Macro.
Adobe.
Yeah.
Okay. So Adobe is a software that you can use to design. Adobe provides you different softwares actually that you can use in design. And there are other design softwares actually. The goal of designing is to visualize something, is to be able to see something visually that okay, oh, this is what I've thought about, and this is how it will look like. And like Mr. James mentioned, he said Adobe provides different software that you can use to design. Now, another example of a design software that most of us have heard about is Figma. Figma is a design software that is used to design how an application or something you want to design, probably a website or an application, how it should look like. That's what the goal of Figma. That's what Figma does for you. Now, when you're designing something, I said you are looking, it helps you to like have a visual representation of what you're thinking about. After you design, you develop. Do you think is the person that is designing that will still do the development? And then we'll talk about data. Data in the sense that it's let's talk about database now. So the person that will design will do the development, will do data, will do AI, will do cybersecurity because everything you can see is what comprises of a solid product. Everything you can see from design to development, data to AI, which is trending now, and cybersecurity. Everything make up a solid product that's not the best of time. Now, I said technology is a team sport. Definitely, you won't expect me to be the designer and I'll still be the developer and I'll still be the cybersecurity expert. I'm not a jack of all trades. I have my own specialty, and my own specialty probably could be in cybersecurity. So if I'm into cybersecurity, that means I will look for somebody that is into design, or look for somebody that is into development, and they will come together and work on that idea that I probably came up with. So technology is a team sport. You don't need to be a developer. You don't need to be a programmer. You don't need to be a designer. You just have to have your own skill, which is unique to you. Your skill may just even be marketing. Yes, you may know how to talk to people, very how to convince people to buy something for you. Then you have a skill already. But you may have an idea that you don't know how to build. You don't say because, okay, I don't know how to code. I can't build this idea. You can. What you need to learn how to do is how to work with people, how to collaborate with people, how to talk to somebody that, hey, I have this idea and I would like for us to work on it together and build something from it. Then that way you are now bringing people together and then your technology is now something like a team sport, like you can see here. Now, every product needs every part working together. The design has to be nice, it has to be very good. Development, you can't write code and it's faulty. Your database has to be solid. Your cybersecurity, when I say cybersecurity, there are a lot of threats nowadays. So cybersecurity is a field that is very important too when you're talking about development. But you don't need to be any of this before you can create a product. The first thing you need to create a product is the ability to think, ability to look around you and identify problems. And the best creators are not those people that they are not those people that just say, "Oh, I want to create something." No, like I mentioned, you think about something, you have to plan for it and act on it. Best creators are not just it's not just anybody. They are those people that fell in love with the problem. They are those people that had an experience with the problem. So having an experience with the problem could be okay. Uh, I'm very hungry. How I wish I could just order for food and food will come to me. If you get what I'm saying, I'm thinking about a problem and I'm experiencing that problem at the same time. Now I'm thinking of a solution to that problem already. So me thinking about a solution to that problem should prompt me to, okay, if I want to build this solution, then let me plan. Okay, so people will have to download a mobile app. So I'm going to create a mobile app. So for me to create a mobile app, I'll need someone who knows how to build a mobile app. I'll find a good mobile app developer, and then I'll think my planning will involve all these areas that you can see. Designers, so I'll look for someone who is good in design. I'll look for someone who is good in writing programs. I'll look for someone who is good in cybersecurity. Someone who knows how to implement AI. These days, AI is something that if a lot of companies are now integrating AI in their system because everybody is leveraging on AI because it can make work easier, it can make tasks faster. It's good for automation. So the summary of everything I'm saying here is design, development, data, AI, cybersecurity. All these are different fields that make up one single product. And you can't be everything, but you can be unique by being a strategic thinker, by being someone who identifies problems and can think about solutions to those problems. Now, are you all with me? You can mute your mic and let me know you're with me, please.
Yes, I'm with you.
All right. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions before we proceed? If you have any questions, please, you can drop it in the group chats on Telegram. So let's proceed. I already talked about this slide before we even got here. And the example I used was myself. I'm hungry and I want to buy food, but there's no way for me to buy food. How do I buy food? And now I'm thinking about, okay, what if I could open my phone and then buy food from my phone and the food comes to me? So the question here is where the great products come from. Great products mostly 90% of time comes from problems. It comes from our frustration, which eventually always leads to a solution. Look below, you see something here. You see taxi stress. What's the solution there? Uber. Long queues. You see online payments. All these are things that we have experienced before. And if I should help you understand this better, most of us have been in a supermarket before. Nobody likes to queue, but queuing is still there. Somebody thought of a solution that, okay, what if I don't have to queue? What if I can just pay for things online and have it delivered to me? That is the solution to that problem in supermarkets. Taxi stress. I've never lived in Lagos before, but I know people that have told me about how Lagos is, how stressful it is in Lagos. So imagine Lagos, for instance, now. Lagos, very congested based on everything you've heard about Lagos. Lagos is this. If you are going to your work, you have to wake up 5 a.m. You have to wake up 4 a.m. because you will not see car by 7 a.m. All those little things. Somebody is thinking of solutions. People are thinking about problems. Some people are thinking about problems and solutions to problems. So, what differentiates you from everybody is your ability to come up with solutions to problems that you already can identify. So, what you should learn, if you don't learn anything from today's session or something you should not do without learning, is every great product comes from solving problems. So you should fall in love with finding problems to solve. You should fall in love with them so much. I've met a lot of founders who have told me that if you are building something and what you're building is not solving a problem, then what are you doing? You're wasting your time. So you can't talk about you want to create something, you can't bring something into existence that doesn't solve a problem. If not, what is the purpose of what you created? It's just occupying space, meaningless. Let me take this further. When you create something, for instance, when you cook food, why did you cook food? Did you cook food to put it on your table and decorate your table and say, oh, I like the aroma of the food. I want to be looking at the food. The food is beautiful. You now cook the food and put it on your table. No, that's not why. You cooked it because there's a problem. You are getting hungry. You want to eat or you feel like eating. So you are cooking the food to satisfy that hunger, to solve that problem, unquote. So if you get what I'm saying, you have to fall in love with the problem. You can't just create products without identifying problems. So that's the first step. Think, identify problems. Let's move on. This this place, can you see the light bulb? Anyone see the light bulb? I hope I'm not the only one here.
You can,
No,
sir.
no, no, you are not.
You can see the light bulb. Is it bright?
It's not.
Yeah, it's not bright. So you're already building a skill here. You're able to discover that light bulb, have you? I intentionally made it bright to register or to sign your clearance or to sign your first form. or you want to buy something in supermarket and there's long queues, or you're using an application and you don't know where to press, you don't know how to do this, or you are even on a video call and the network is breaking. All these are problems that a lot of us just think about. We just ignore it, or sometimes we just accept the fact that it is this is the usual way of life around here. This is how things are. There's nobody that can bring solution to this problem. Let me take you back in history. Aeroplanes, for instance, before aeroplanes were created, the person who had the idea to create the aeroplane went to meet somebody and said, "Can't we build something that flies, that people can fly across, and instead of walking, people can just fly?" And that was the beginning of his own creation. He thought about the idea that, okay, well, people can fly, people should be able to be in the air and move. And then the person that he went to meet was like, "Oh, it's not possible that when you are not angels, that is only angels that can fly." That was the story that I heard actually. And today we have aeroplanes that fly, we have jets, we have rockets that go to space and come back. All because of somebody thought about a solution. Somebody thought about something that could be a solution to a problem. Now, what you need to develop, like I've mentioned, and I'll keep mentioning, is the ability to discover problem. Now, if people don't understand the product, they won't use it. So you have discovered the problem and you have thought about a solution, and then you have built a solution to that problem. What happens? So people now are using your solution. In this case, a tech solution. So people are using your app and then press a button, and instead of it to take them to their home page, it's taking them to their settings. All those things are things that will affect your products. So you can't create something that people can use. You get what I'm saying? Look at the contrast on the screen. You can see messy UI and clean UI. Yeah, it's button and menu. There are a lot of different random things that I don't understand yet. But on the other side, you can see clearly button to start, a button to learn more, a button to sign up. So I know which one by just looking. I know which one is doing what because it's interactive, it's more user friendly, and the design is clear. So when people don't understand your product, when people don't understand your solution, there's no way people can use it. So as a creator, you should be user focused. First one is you should be problem centered. As a creator now, first thing you should be is problem centered, and I've talked a lot about problems. Second thing you should do is you should be user centered, you should be user focused. Now, how many of us know Steve Jobs? How many of
Sir,
us know Steve Jobs?
how many of us what?
Know Steve Jobs.
I don't really know him, sir.
You don't really know Steve Jobs. Anyone know Steve Jobs?
No, 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 sir.
Oh, so Steve Jobs, we don't know Steve Jobs, but how many of us knows iPhone? We know Apple, we know MacBook.
I think most of us.
Most of us know. Now, Steve Jobs, along with his friend, created Apple in a garage, apparently. And that was the beginning of Apple, that was the beginning of Mac, that was the beginning of iPhones. But they started from a garage. Now, most of us don't know Steve Jobs. But if you do your research into Steve Jobs very well, Steve Jobs was the one behind most of the work that we are seeing today. So we are using an iPhone, but it all came from the fact that somebody thought about the future. Something about Steve Jobs was user focused. Steve Jobs focused on the person who will be using this thing. How convenient for that person would it be? How useful for that person would it be? And that was part of the basis for their design. Steve Jobs was focused on speed. So they didn't want to create a device that somebody will be using and it will be lagging. If you watch a lot of videos, you hear a lot of different news about Windows, Microsoft, which one is better than Mac, which one is better than an iPhone. Obviously, Apple products are more and more efficient when compared to other products like Windows or I don't know. Now, that is because somebody was focused on the user experience from the start. So, very, very important as a creator, you should be problem focused person and you should be user centered, you should be user focused. Now, somebody asked the question on the book, which I just saw now. He said, what's your advice for someone that just wants to start learning UI UX design? All right. So, my advice for you is don't wait. Look for resources, look for people that can put you through and start. Because when you say you want to do something, the best way to get it done is to do it. Are we there? Miriam,
Yes.
okay. So the best way to get something done is to do it. So you want to learn UI, user experience, user interface design. Definitely you have to just start it out. Now there are a lot of resources that you can start out with. The first one, which I will always recommend you to start with, is YouTube. You'll find a lot of resources on YouTube where you can understand the basics of how it works. Then from YouTube, you can start exploring courses. You can start thinking about buying a course on Udemy or Coursera. Those are great platforms. And guess what? You can also learn the basics by leveraging on AI tools like Google and Gemini. Google, Gemini, and ChatGPT. So let's continue. How do ideas become products? I have talked about this a lot, and I'm glad that we are iterating on this. Idea, design, prototype, build, and launch. Now, this time around, it's still streamlined again into you think, you plan, and then you take action. So, idea, when you think about something, you have an idea about something, you that's the process of thinking, and then you now move on to design because, yeah, what we are trying to establish is how do ideas become product? Because as a creator, what you are doing is you want to create something, you want to bring something to existence. A product is okay, let me get a definition of a product. So a product means something that is manufactured or created. Another definition is an article or a substance that is designed or refined for sale. So there are a lot of different definitions of product. For in the tech space, a product is something that you create. So the act of creation is the act of bringing something into existence. So you are creating a product means you are bringing a product into existence. So you are bringing something to existence. You are firstly thinking about it, which is the idea phase. Then you plan, which involves the design, which involves prototyping, which involves you building it. After building it, then on that building, there are a lot of things involved on that building. There are a lot of things involved in each of them. So let's even look at each of them. Let's look at the idea phase. The idea phase is when something comes to your head. Okay, oh, so I can even do something that people can, instead of going to JAMB office to register for JAMB, people can register for JAMB online. That's the idea phase. Then design phase is where you think about, okay, how will this work? First of all, so in your design has a lot of things that comes around it. Because you can't design something that you don't know anything about. What am I saying? So think about how to create something where people can register for JAMB online, but you have never written JAMB in your life. Or you think about where people can buy food from a restaurant, but you don't go to a restaurant, you don't know how restaurants work. So in the process of you designing, you have to do your research very well. So you have to go out there, understand how things work, and then how your own design can work around what is already working and make the process easier, faster, and reliable. Because the goal of creating something is to make something to be easy to use, is to make something to be faster. Because when you're creating something, you shouldn't create a product that doesn't make a difference. Look at Uber now. Uber makes a difference in the sense that I can be at home and have somebody waiting to pick me up in less than a minute or within few seconds. But it's saving the stress of me having to leave my house. If I can't drive myself out, I have to go to where I will find somebody where I will start looking for public transport. I start stopping cars on the road or stopping bikes on the road just because I want to transport myself somewhere. So Uber has solved the problem for me. It has made it easy for me. It has made things faster for me, and it is efficient. Now, we now move on to prototyping. When you are prototyping something, a prototype definitely is just what's a prototype, for instance? Like, a prototype is a sample, more like a sample of a product. So if you want to create a pen, how would the pen look like? You should have a sample of the original product you want to create. So that's the whole idea of prototyping. So prototyping is the product that is very completed but looks like what you want to do. So your prototyping can come under design. Now, when you talk about design, you that you want to learn user interface, UI UX design, your prototyping can come under there and be like, okay, I can use tools like Figma to see how the application will look like when it's developed. So you're using Figma to prototype your idea that you already have. Then when you move on from prototyping, you are going to building. So now you have seen how your application wants to look like. You have seen how what you want to do. You have seen how it looks already visually. Then you build. If you can't build it, you find developers who you can speak to, who can build it, and you collaborate, you work together and build that prototype that you already have. After building, you don't waste time. You launch, get reviews, and then make corrections, launch again. You don't launch again actually, you just make corrections. So the whole idea of launching, when you're launching, you're not just launching per se. And you're not doing advertisements, you're going everywhere, use this. Your launching can be strategic. If it's a if it's a platform that you have already validated and you have seen that okay, my solution to this problem is going to be very useful. And when I develop it, I don't really need to start testing before I see users reviews or user feedback. Then your launching can be immediate. You can launch and scale across different places. But if you are launching something that okay, you are skeptical about how it's going to function, then your launching has to be strategic. So strategic in the sense that you can just pick a few friends, talk to a few people and say, okay, I've developed this, please test it. I want to test it and see how it functions so I can make corrections. That is strategic launching. Then you expand from there, make corrections, expand, so that you won't push something that is faulty to wide audience and then everybody sees it and they're like, oh, your application is not solving any problem at the end of the day. The application is useless. Why did you create it and start telling everybody about it? So strategic launching is important also. Now, this place is funny because the first example that came to my mind was an iPhone. I don't think I ever saw iPhone 1, but I know I've seen iPhone 4. iPhone 4 compared to an iPhone 17 today, there's a huge difference. Like now, iPhone 4 then that was the design back then. That was how they could conceptualize it. They didn't do too much back then, or that was the extent to which they could design it. Now today, iPhone 17 is way better, more attractive in terms of looks, is more functional, and it's more efficient than the iPhone 4 that we knew back then. So every product begins rough. It starts from a sketch, from a wireframe than a real app. Now your real app itself may begin rough. Your real app may begin rough. It may not be the best version of what you want it to be, but as long as it's functional, as long as it's solving the problem, as long as it's reliable and it's making things better, then people would use that platform that you're creating. And then over time, you can now iterate, you can now create better versions of what you initially created. So design is thinking before building. So this is a quick explanation of how user experience design comes into play, how user interface, user experience design works. So when you are designing, in UI UX designing now, you talk about screens, you talk about flows, you talk about user journey. When you open your Google Chrome, the first thing you see is a search bar. That is a screen. From that search bar, when you click search, it takes you to another screen where you see different results. That is another screen. So the flow is the process. The flow is I open Google Chrome. What do I see? Search bar. If I don't open Google Chrome, let's say I open WhatsApp for the first time on my phone. For the first time, what would I see? I'll see welcome to WhatsApp. I won't just see chat because I'm not logged into WhatsApp. I'll see welcome to WhatsApp. That's the flow. Then from welcome to WhatsApp, I can see get started, like a button. When I click it, it takes me to another screen. The process of it taking me to another screen is the flow. The other screen is the screen, basically. So it takes me to another screen, which probably will say enter your phone number to get started or register your phone number. So the flow continues, and then everything together from the screen and the flows gives you the user journey. So the user journey, like I said, should be very, 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 very good. Because I said the creator should be problem focused and user centered. So whatever you're designing, you should take into factor, you should factor into your purpose of whatever you're designing. You should take into consideration whoever will be using your platform. There are people that they don't like bright color entering their eyes. So you should think of something like, okay, I can have a dark theme. There are people that they they like their icons to be tiny. You could make provision for that also in your platform. But everything together sums up to be your user journey. And your user journey should be very, very memorable and nice. Because when your user experiences something that is very, very unique, your user comes back to your platform. Now, after you have designed something finished, after you have made a very good design, developers can come in and write the code. There are a lot of different codes, programming languages, HTML, which is a markup language. You have Python, you have Java. How many of us can code here? If you can code, just drop a message on the group. If you can code, just drop a message like your name and the programming language that you can write. So while that is on, developers, their whole mission is to develop. So developers are actually the ones who does the action of creating. You as a creator, you are doing the more work in terms of you are thinking about something and you are planning the whole concept of how everything will work. But the developers here, what they are doing is they are writing programming languages because programming languages is what you use to create your websites, your mobile applications, your games, and whatsoever you want to create. Now, I mentioned earlier, said technology is a team sport. It involves different people working together. It involves different people that have come together to achieve a common goal, which is the product. So the designer is designing how the product will look like. The product manager is working on how the whole user experience will be. The developer is is creating the application based on what the designer has done. The data analyst is analyzing data that will help them to make informed decisions whether, okay, let's create something that the user can use. Let's create something that will make people to be able to find each other. That's the goal of the data analyst, to analyze data, basically, data generated from the platform that they have created. Now, you see here that great products are built by great teams. Yes, if you want to, there's that saying that says, if you want to go far, or no, it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with somebody. And then there's another saying that says, if you help someone climb a mountain, you realize they have gotten to the top too. So great products comes from great teams. When you're able to work together with somebody to actualize something, that is the goal. Because there are a lot of problems in this country that technology can solve. And there are a lot of people that are thinking about solutions to problems daily. But the most important thing that makes every thought, every idea come to life is the ability to work with other people. Is the ability to say, okay, I'm thinking about this solution to this problem. Let's work together to bring the solution to life. Most people will just rather, oh, I want to do it alone so that I'll take all the benefit, I'll take all the glory, I'll take all the. And at the end of the day, you can't do everything together at the same time. You can't be the developer, you can't be the cybersecurity analyst, you can't be the designer at once. You just wear yourself out. So it's very important that you learn how to work in teams. Now products evolve. A, a very important thing to note is the fact that you shouldn't stay static. You shouldn't stay stagnant. The world is evolving. There was nothing like ChatGPT at some point. Now there's ChatGPT. So things are changing. Before, when you wanted to do your assignment, you go to the library to go and search for books or go to your Google Chrome, start searching, reading websites. Now, what do? We open our ChatGPT and paste the question there, and ChatGPT will do what? ChatGPT will give you the answers instantly. And now, that's because a lot of different things have evolved. Your Google Chrome itself has AI in it. Before, when you search for something, you have to be scrolling, click link, check. This is not what I want. You scroll again. But now, you can search for things and AI will be the first to answer you on Google. So, products have evolved over time. And iteration is not failure. Iteration is strategy. Iteration is you going over something again to make it better. So the best products, they improve with every version. So you have created something today. Tomorrow, when I want to make that thing better, I have to add features or make something that okay makes it better than what I've done before. So iPhone 4, for instance, now was smaller. It could easily fall from my hand, or I couldn't see the text clearly. Now I made iPhone 5. iPhone 5 will be bigger than iPhone 4. iPhone 5, I will want people to see the text more clearly. But guess what? As a creator, your work should be strategic because you don't just dump features into your product at once. Strategically, you add features. So it's very important to know that products evolve. Now, anyone can start building, anyone can come up with an idea and build. There are a lot of tools that are available to your disposal today. Even Elon Musk has said that in a few years' time, the way we program language, you will write code today and you'll be say, somebody can write and we can write code. AI will be doing all these things in the future. So what happens to you? What happens to you when AI is programming? What do you want to learn? So anyone can start building. AI can't come up with solutions to problems. AI can't think. AI can't create because they can't think and they can't plan the way you can plan and you can think. You are the one experiencing the problem. AI is not the one experiencing the problem. So you are the one that knows, okay, this is the solution I can create to this problem. And then you will now use AI to make your work faster, to improve the efficiency with which you create a solution. So AI is just a tool to improve your workflow, not a tool to replace your work. Now you don't need permission to build anything. You don't need to wait for anybody before you start taking action. All you need to do is think about something, plan, and then take action. So what are your first tools? I've mentioned a lot of all this. Design, under design, you have Figma, you have Adobe XD. Build, under building development, you have VS Code, which is a place where you can write code. GitHub is for tracking your code and version control. You can collaborate with people on Notion, on Slack, and all these tools here, they are free tools that you can easily use to build a product, to create a product. Now, when you create something, definitely not everybody will be creators and not everybody will be the ones to create something and then having to employ people. No, you create and then you can create things just to have evidence that okay, you know how to think, you know how to come up with solutions to problems. So your portfolio is very important. When you create things, you can create a portfolio where all your achievements, all your milestones that you have unlocked can be added there. So technology is transforming every industry: healthcare, finance, education, security. Technology is transforming all these industries daily. Because in healthcare now, I really don't know much about healthcare actually. But I know in education, the way we used to learn back then is not the way we are learning today. Today, we have a lot of tools to our disposal. Back then, there were not much of these tools. In fact, access to the internet was limited. But today, there's access to internet everywhere, access to tools, applications that can make your learning faster. Finance, you have to start tracking sales. AI can do all these things today. Healthcare too. AI can help you track okay your patient records and your hospital data. So all these things, technology is transforming all this industry. But as a creator, there are a lot of problems to be solved. You can't solve all the problems in the world. So you can think about how can technology solve this particular problem in this industry. All the problems in the world. Funny thing is, when you solve a problem, you create another problem. And then you keep solving a problem and you keep solving a problem. So it's a loop that never ends. But the goal is to keep making life easier and more efficient. Now, you all listening to me today, you are you are you have the opportunity to become an innovator. You have the opportunity to build something that changes how things are being done, that makes things more efficient. And it all starts with you being a creator. It all starts with you being someone who can think about problems. All of us actually can think about problems. It's just that we don't pay attention to these problems around us. But when we start paying attention to it, we start imagining how tech can actually solve this particular problem. That is when you become someone who creates. That's when you become a creator. Now, as a creator, I mentioned earlier, you should be problem focused and user centered because who will use your solution? It's not dog, it's not cow, it's not AI that will use your solution. It's people like you, people like me that will use the solution that you are creating. So whatever you're doing, take cognizance of people would use your solution. That is the only way you can create something that brings value to people. So what problem will you solve today? I'd like us to talk about problems we can solve because my slides is done already. This is literally the end of my slide. So if you have any ideas for problems you can solve, just unmute your mic. Let's talk about problems we can solve. Is anyone there?
Yes, yes. I'm still thinking.
Oh, you're thinking.
All right.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
then,
Yes,
then-
Mr. James, I'm listening.
okay. No, there's this problem I'm trying to solve. Though I just add the. You said you talked about cohesion. So
Yeah,
there's this thing I've been thinking of. So I think about it before I could. You have to think about it before you say you want to correct it. Yes. So
yeah,
I thought of this. I don't know. Though I don't know if it exists already. Though there's this thing on my mind that having a slippers down. It's funny, very funny. Having a slippers that works on water, like a slippers, you just have to wear the slippers and be able to walk on water. And what kind of problem is going to solve is that let's say for people that work in, let's say people that work in the sea or whatever that has to do with water, instead of them drowning or anytime they're having some kind of disaster, it can actually help them or to just something like that, just like a slippers that walk on water. It's quite funny, bro. That was what was actually on my mind in creating, but it just I just let it die because it doesn't really exist. I just let it go.
mm, okay. Actually, it's very funny, and it's reminding me of Jesus when he walked on water. But yes, you have to create a slippers that works on water. Ah, it's very funny. Actually, it's very funny, and it's you already talked about the problem, right? You talked about a use case when you said people that work on sea, that work in water environments, basically, so that instead of them to drown, the slippers can keep them afloat. But then you have to consider your main reason for creating this solution, which is a slippers that helps you to walk on water. What is it? What's the problem? Because you have not really identified the problem. All you have given is a scenario where your solution can be applied. Your solution to what? What is the problem? Do people actually walk? So a problem could be okay. Think about flooding examples now. Then you hear stories of places in different states where they experience massive flooding and then their houses are submerged with water. How do people move about? People will start living on boats. That's where your solution could come in. You could think about that. Okay, so if everywhere is waterlogged now, there's no way for me to move. Do I have to start entering boats before I move? No. So your solution could be useful there. Now you now have to now you have thought about the problem and the way your solution could be useful. Now you now think about how can I create this? You start planning, you do your research. How can I create these slippers? What would I add? What would I add that would give me a slippers that when I wear it, I can walk on water? So I won't say your solution is not possible, but yes, you have to think about the problem carefully, think about where it can be applied. And let me say this because your solution may not be something that will work for everybody. For instance, now, when he said for people that work in um water environment, aquatic environment where they work on water or sea, your solution may not be for everybody. I don't work in aquatic environment. I work on the land. So I won't need to wear a slippers that will help me to work on water. Except I want to do display for people. I want to show people tricks. But I won't need to wear slippers that works on water. But somebody that works in that environment where there's water can need that slippers. So you have to also be able to define your users who would use your products. So like I've clarified now, you may not build a product for everybody. You may build a product for specific set of people also. So Mr. James, I would like you to work on your idea. Don't discard your idea. Hmm? It's a very nice idea and you can bring it to life if you do your research carefully. But also, it's very important to note that you shouldn't, you should be aware. You should be aware of yourself when you are hitting dead ends. Dead ends in the sense that the country you are living in is not enabling enough yet. So, if you're talking about creating a slippers, You think of technologies, you think of hardware, you think of all those things that will be useful to bring that slippers to life. If you don't have them in Nigeria, it's not realistic for you to create something like that. So think about the limitations that will affect your solution. And if the limitations are greater than what you can afford to build, then at I would say at that point you should be realistic and just accept the fact that for now you can't create the solution. All right. Please, anybody else has any solution to a problem they have thought about? Uh, Priscilla, are you there? Can anyone hear me?
Good, I can hear you, sir.
Yes, I
Okay,
can
good
hear
evening. Okay, good evening.
Good
Oh,
evening.
marvelous, Anthony. Good evening.
Good evening. So, um, there's this particular problem that has been on my mind for quite a while. We
Okay.
all know that the electricity of Nigeria, in Nigeria,
Mm,
especially this area that I am, is quite
mm,
bad. And there has been situation in which we might want to do something very important with light, and then the light suddenly goes off. Or maybe, let's take for instance, maybe you plan on, let me say, let me just use this one. You plan on ironing your clothes, and then you've already started ironing your clothes, and then the light suddenly goes off without any notice and all. And we know that we have unstable lights, and also I've been thinking of something like a power alarm, yes, that will actually notify us when the light is about to go off. So this alarm will have like a voltage reader, and how it will have already been accustomed to the original voltage of the NEPA light. If the original voltage is one, let's say 190 volts, and then and then NEPA gives us lights, and the voltage is somehow lower than that, it's it keeps beeping to inform me that this light that you're seeing, there's a high probability that it's going to go off very soon. So you know that at that moment you don't do some things. You don't iron your clothes, you don't do some certain things with that light, and also something like that, Sha, has been on my mind for quite a while.
okay. Okay, that's a very good idea. That's a very good idea, and I I really love the idea because you have identified the problem. For me now, I wouldn't like to start cooking, especially if I'm using an electric cooker and knowing fully well that it will soon take the light. I would prefer to know, okay, oh, if I cook in the next 1 minute, there won't be lights and my food won't be ready to, won't be done per se. So I won't cook. So it's a very good idea. And I would ask you, how do you plan to develop this idea?
Well, using technology, I've not really like gone deep. It was just a an idea that we brought up mainly in my chapel. So this power alarm will not just be a normal alarm. It will there's some technology we are going to be using a voltage alarm, a voltage reader, and some other things, a beep, the one that will bring out the sound, and some other stuff like that, sha. I've not really gone deep into researching about it, but just have an idea of how it will go.
Okay, okay. So it's a very good idea, and I would I'd say you should not waste time. Don't waste time at all. Do your research. Find people that you can work together on this particular problem because it's a problem in Nigeria. If you are doing anything, they can just take lives. I watched a video recently that I just remembered now. Some people were killing a snake in their room. All of them were killing the snake together, and NEPA just took light all of a sudden. And now everybody were scared. They were now jumping up and down, looking for the snake, no lights to turn on. But they didn't know that lights would go. Probably if they knew that lights would go, they would have attempted killing the snake or have just left the snake. So what I'm trying to say is a very good idea. There is the problem on ground already, and you have thought of a solution to that problem on ground. So you have to implement it. Your implementation will start with your research, which you said you have been doing. Be consistent with it. Design how it will work. and then build the whole system and launch it. Don't waste time with it at all. All right. Anyone
Sir,
else?
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyone else? Esther Toluwanimi, are you here? Good evening. Do you have any problems you have? Do you have any problems you have thought of solutions to?
No, sir.
Okay. So from today, I want you to think about problems that you can create solutions to. Hmm?
So there you
Yeah,
go.
I'm listening.
Okay. No, me and a friend of mine we are currently working on something which is
Mm,
what I said. Though he brought problem, and we're currently working on it. I don't know. Is it? I just want to ask if it's a good one. But the problem is about
sorry,
Are you hearing me, sir?
are you there? I
Yes.
can hear you now.
Okay. I said that a friend of mine brought it
Mm,
to me and saying that we can put it together and solve this problem together. But I want to know if
mm,
it's a good one. So, and the problem
okay.
is that um like for instance now this didn't happen to Donald Trump about he was standing and during the election period, when he was standing and talking, they shoot him from afar with a sniper. Yeah, I guess with a sniper. Then the guy was like, think that there was something that maybe like an AI stuff. Oh my, sorry, I'm coming.
Okay.
So yeah, I was a bit noisy. I had to leave there.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay, so uh, during that Trump election, everything, he had a strange bullet that nearly killed him. So
Mm,
then he was like, what if he creates like an AI stuff that whenever the bullet is, they'll just put it around this or put it.
are you there?
Car. You actually what you use was a car. For an example, you just put that stuff in the car. Whenever they want to shoot the bullet, it won't even come closer to the car. The bullet will just fall and I don't know if you are getting what I'm trying to say,
Okay.
sir. So the bullet will
I, I
just like
I get what you're trying to say.
yes, no matter the kind of bullet, no matter any kind of bullet, no matter the kind once it reaches like around him, they'll just put the AI stuff around him. That even no matter what they shoot, it won't just penetrate. It will just fall on the ground just because that thing is there. It's not like it will detect it. Yes, it will detect it, but the sense that it will detect it is that it won't allow it to go further. Just allow it to because of that because of the AI that is like something that will just put on the floor or put around the environment or like my friend actually used for an example was a car. So maybe just plant it in the car, and whenever they shoot the gun, it won't even it will not even hit the car. It will just drop on the floor. So, sir, what do you think about that? Hello. Oh, so please, can anyone hear me?
I can hear you.
No. I
I
guess
think it's working. I don't know.
I can't really hear.
Mr.
Probably
Are
maybe
you
he has network issues.
I think
Yeah,
so.
this is having network.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. So, um, John, Mr. James, I said your message, your question, please type it on the group so that I can attend to it on the group. So, anyone else with questions before we wrap it up for today?
Now be assistant. That's it. I know.
All right, Miriam Akimbola, please, you can speak. Unmute your mic.
Oh, it's not like I don't want to go. Like I'm in a meeting.
All right, no one has questions again. If you have any questions, please drop it on the group. Okay, Miriam, you can unmute your mic. Stop.
Hello. Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so my own idea is that like one of the major problems I've identified in the voting system of Nigeria is like the lack of trust, efficiency, and all that. Physical voting often leads to voting issues like rigging, low
Yeah.
turnout due to intimidation or fear of inconvenience. So my proposed solution is like a secure hybrid digital voting system that
Okay.
allows citizens to vote both physically and online.
Okay.
Like the system would use a biometric verification and secure technologies like blockchain to ensure transparency and to prevent fraud and make voting more accessible and efficient. It's not like I'm trying to disrupt the physical voting. There will still be the physical voting, but if you are not comfortable going physically, you can vote online, and it will be very secure with using biometric verification and everything related. Thank you.
Okay. So you have identified the problem, and it's a very important problem that is evident in our country today, voting system. Nobody even trusts the voting system in Nigeria again. Some people were saying last time that somebody won, but another person was elected. So yes, you can build a solution that solves that problem. You would have to consider, has something like this been done before? Do your research, find out there are countries that are using things like this, just like you have said. So do your research, find out such countries, look into how their system works, come up with a design that is unique for your own country because you are in Nigeria and things are different from other countries out there. So come up with a design that is unique based on your research, and then you can build your solution as you launch. So yes, it's a very good problem that you have identified. and your solution is very nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, for the sake of time, uh, if you have any more questions, please drop it on the group. I will attend to them on the group. So, in summary, in summary, here it says you should start small, you should build, and you should solve real problems. Don't solve problems that are not helping anybody. Solve problems that are real, that everybody can relate to, and that problems that will make a difference in other people's lives. Thank you very much for listening to me. It's my pleasure to talk about creating a product. And if you have questions, once again, do well to drop it on the group. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. David, for that insightful section. Thank you, everyone, for joining too. I really learned a
Yeah,
lot today. A lot. Thank you so much, sir.
it's my pleasure. So, okay, let me listen to God's gifts. God's gift. Unmute your mic. Oh, where's God's gift? Miriam, you want to say something? Miriam, I'm listening to you. Okay. In the absence of questions or contributions now, please drop your questions on the group and I'll attend to them. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you once again. So let's call it a day. Mr. Samuel, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about creating a product also. So till next time, please drop your messages on the group. I'll attend to them.
All right, sir. All right, sir. Thank you so much. To everyone in the space, I hope you find this session valuable. Don't forget we'll continue tomorrow at the same time, 5 p.m. Please. Okay. If you haven't registered yet, please do. The link is in the group. Please register. So tomorrow by 5 p.m. Let's meet again. Mr. David, thank you once again, sir. Bye bye.
We can't wait for tomorrow. Thank you.